Your dreams aren't made from your skin color.
But I'm not a good speaker. It's not going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect.
You really have opened the door for beauty and redefined it.
Never base your worth on something available as a number, meaning number of Instagram followers, the number on the weighing scale, number in the bank account, your age. If you're basing your self-worth on numbers, it is going to crumble.
Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a true visionary, a woman redefining beauty and representation on a global scale, a Dubai-based entrepreneur, model, and the founder of the wellness brand, Ria. Her journey took a major leap when she was chosen from over 100,000 applicants to represent Marc Jacobs Global Beauty. It's Ria Jacobs, everyone! Welcome to Feel It in Your Soul. I'm your host, Angelee, and this podcast is for the bold, the curious, and the ones ready to go deeper. Look, I created this podcast after decades of frustration, constantly feeling like I was chasing. But what I realized is you can create a soulful, lit up life for yourself. And it starts here. We're diving into real stories, unfiltered moments, and breakthroughs that literally change everything. If you're ready to reframe your mindset, unlock your purpose, and hear from voices rewriting the rules, you are in the right place. So look, if this resonates with you on a soul level, please subscribe, share it with someone who needs it. Your support means everything. Now let's dive in. So many things that I want to jump into. Ria, all your journey with Marc Jacobs. But before I do, I like to get a little bit of context about what was life like growing up as Ria Jacobs?
Oh my gosh, it was the most... Okay, to give you context, I'm actually an only child and two amazing parents who life was not very kind to them because they had it hard. And they had dreams that they wanted to achieve and they really couldn't. So they decided it ends with us and I'm going to give everything that my daughter ever wanted. And I mean, not in the sense of a material, like, oh, she's going to get whatever. But if she had a dream, there's 100% chance that we're going to make it happen. So it was great. And I felt like I lived two worlds in a way, where at home I was like this star, like, you know, I could do anything, I could achieve anything, because that's what mums and dads do. Like, they make you feel like you're the best, you know. And then I would go outside into the world and it was exactly the opposite. They were like, oh, you have all these dreams, it's not possible, you look like that, you talk like that. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, is this like my narrative now? Because like my parents, they're biologically programmed to love me. So is the world right? And because when you're a kid, you're so far from your truth. You know, your truth is something that you learn when you're much older, because you know that the world will always have opinions, but at the end of the day, it's you who writes your destiny, your truth, your own narrative. But as a child, I felt like maybe they were right. And I'm so glad that, like, I always tell my mom this. So like the world would drain me and then I would come home and she would like recharge me in a way, you know?
That is so beautiful.
Like an iPhone.
That is so beautiful. It just shows you as well how important that nurturing element at home is, because it feels like when the world tried to break you down, you at least had that refuge that told you, no, Ria, no, there is something more for you. Don't let the naysayers get the better of you. And so when things like, at times when, you know, your confidence is broken and your self-esteem is on the floor and you're having these big dreams, I'm going to do this, and you have someone go, how would you even do that? Who are you to do that? How did you kind of overcome really getting caught up in other people's opinion of you?
See, now I'm more mature, I'm wiser. So when you say something to me that's negative, I know that it's a reflection of who you are as a person inside. And a lot of times, like if you notice yourself or me, whenever I'm in a bad mood, everything around me is bad. Like, this is bad, that is bad, I'm not happy. But when you're happy inside, you will never want to go and tear someone down, because it's just very wrong. And if you have light inside you, why would you want to bring a darkness into somebody else's life, you know? But as a child, you don't have that. Like, why are they saying that? And I used to come home and I used to cry. So that was my thing. I used to come home, mom, mom, mom. And she used to recharge me, and she used to be like, no. Like, there's this one day, we spoke about this earlier, but I came home with a magazine. I mean, I grew up watching America's Next Top Model and like attire bags with like the paper saying, I'm America's Next Top Model. So I wanted to be a model. So I used to go out there and I used to buy magazines, and I used to show my friends that and show other people that and be like, Ria, come on, babe. Like, you know, and I'd be like, but why? You know, there was this one day someone was like, you don't look like that. How can you have dreams? Like, I mean, they didn't say dreams, but how can you expect that? And I used to, and so that day I came home and complete frustration, going up to my mother, and I had the magazine. I was like, what do I have to do to look like her? Because in my head, I needed to look like that girl in order to be in magazines and work in fashion and work in beauty. And my mom said something so profound. She said, Ria, this world already has someone who looks like that. It needs someone who looks like you.
Wow.
My life changed right then and there, because I realized I didn't have to be anybody else. There's beauty within me. Maybe now in the world, there are so many girls who look like me. And I love switching on the TV, going through magazines, and you see diversity and you see inclusivity. Kids need that, because that is the validation that you get. Like, you switch on a movie and you see someone like you. Oh, she's there, so maybe she's like me. So, oh, I'm good, you know?
I've got the opportunity to do that as well.
We never had that. You know this.
Yeah.
We never had that.
Totally.
Especially in the beauty industry, especially in the media. There was nobody who looked like us. I was like, wait, so does that mean I don't belong there? You know? So,
And I've got to say, hats off to your mom,
Yeah.
because, you know, Mama Ria, wow. I mean, to say that, because sometimes as a parent, being a parent myself, you have to be careful that you don't think you're protecting your children by saying, you know, look, that might not be something you can do. Why don't you do this? Because in your head, you might be thinking, actually, I'm just trying to protect them. But actually what you've done is close that door. And what your mum did was actually, you know, kick it wide open and say, no, Ria, actually, someone like you is needed. And I think what it also did was made you feel that there was value in that, that by you doing that, you would represent so many other women. So that was amazing to Mama Ria. So give her a high five.
Oh my God, no,
that is
for
a
sure.
amazing thing for her
No,
to
like,
say.
I'm here because of her. Because I don't think I would have had the wisdom to actually go out in the world and do all this, because the world really tears you down, especially as a kid. You know, as a kid, you're so pure, you know? So that's why even now, like, I try my best to be that person. Like they say, be the person who the kid you needed. Because kids need that. The world needs that. Like, enough. There's space for everyone.
God, I love that. I absolutely love that. So tell me, from that place of, you know, bringing that magazine home and thinking, hang on a second, maybe the world does need someone like me. How did you move from that to actually being scouted by Marc Jacobs and your world just opening up the way it did?
It just, I can't say this is the one thing that I did and I became that person. It's always a journey. It's never a destination. And it was days of me getting things wrong to getting things right to doubting and then recharging.
Lots of recharging.
Lots of recharging to finally, I think I realized that there's beauty in individuality. And I guess for me, that was the thing that set me apart, because I was like, how do I harness the individuality in me? And that's pretty much what I did. I mean, I had a phase of like extreme individuality. Like, I was like, oh, this is me. But it was not me. It was just me trying to be different. But getting things right to getting things wrong to finally, I don't know. I think, see, everything is movement. I feel like when you as a person do everything in your power using the resources around you, maintaining your values, that momentum automatically aligns you to what you're meant to do in life, you know? And I think...
Actually, I remember you saying something along those lines, which really, I've got it in my notes here, it really stood out to me, which was your dreams aren't made from your skin color or your privilege. They're made with the intensity of your hunger and the resources around you. I mean, that is so beautifully put, but also gives us freedom to understand that we are not shackled by our circumstances. Like, we actually have the ability to break through. And that's why I wanted to speak to you so badly, because I was like, there isn't many people that have done that. Yes, now more so. But definitely in the last 5-10 years, we didn't really see people. If you had to be 5'10", you know,
and I'm like 5'2", you know, little,
you know. So you'd even like count yourself out before you'd even get there, because you're like, oh, I'm not that. So by you doing that, you really have opened the door for beauty and redefined it. So tell me that moment when you got picked. How was that for you?
I'm going to be very honest and say, until I reached New York, I thought it was a scam. No, genuinely. I was like,
no way.
Yes. I got the email.
Sorry.
I got the email and, you know, I was like, yeah, okay, you know. It didn't really hit me. I was like, okay, at least I'll go to the States and I'll see what it's like, because I never went there before. Yeah. So I was like, I need to take my mom along with me. And I went there. When I met the team, they were so nice from the get-go. And they're very nurturing. I think because they embody Marc. Marc in himself is a very nurturing person, very encouraging, he's the kind of person, he'll treat everyone in the room with the same sort of love and same sort of respect. Mm-hmm. And they embody that as well. I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, yeah, sure, I'll come. Yeah, okay. And then I went, and I think it hit me when we were invited to his office and I met him. I was like, oh my God. Okay, this is real. This is real. And he just has this amazing aura to him. And he was so kind to everyone. And he was like, oh, thank you for coming. And in my head, I'm like, you're Marc Jacobs. Like, because we have this higher sense of self that we think we achieve something, like I'm untouchable. For me today, after seeing him, true achievement, like a person who's really made it in life, is the person who still treats everyone the same.
The humility that
the
comes
humility
with it. Yeah.
Like the work
100%.
is like the work is important, yes, but the kindness to who you are, I mean, I learned that from him, and I'm so glad I got that exposure at the start, because it really did set the
tone of what actual success even looks like. If you look at somebody who's a successful person and is able to do that with such kindness and such grace, it just shows you that you don't need to be the kind of guns blazing, that you have to trample on other people to get yourself ahead. Or I remember once when I was in corporate, what I got told was, Angelee, don't you know there's one cake and you've got to think about how big your slice is going to be? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't know if I want to make a cake. I'm going to make a flan. But
yeah, maybe I want a chocolate cake, and there's a vanilla cake here.
But it was just this whole mindset of scarcity.
It's the scarcity mindset,
isn't it?
Yeah.
That if you show that if you're kind of hard, maybe that will make people feel it's difficult to get there and it'll put them off. Whereas right now, what I'm seeing more than ever is much more of this collaboration over competition mindset, which ultimately gets you into an expansive mode, as opposed to trying to really scavenger those little bits that you're like, this is what's going to make me important. And how was it like meeting the other girls that were there? And like, did you like, you know, did it kind of create a community for you?
It did, you know, because up until then, like I said, I genuinely thought it was not real at that point, because I had 800 Instagram followers. Like, that is nothing. There were people over there who had like 80K and 50K. It was a lot. And I just came in like, hi, you know, 800 followers. there was a person there. So my name is Jacob because my dad's name is Jacob. So they thought,
I was going to say, what?
Yeah.
Because you've got the same surname.
Yeah.
This is such serendipity. It's
So they thought probably I was like his niece or something. I was like, I'm as brown as they come, you know? and
you were made for that job, by the way.
there are no coincidences in
No,
life. Like, I truly
exactly.
believe that. But they were under the impression, and I was like, no. And then they were very, like, nice and very sweet. I think because when you want something so bad, you know how hard it is. So you don't want to show that to another person. Like, you want to, like, nurture them and be kind to them. And everyone over there was so nice to me.
What do you think is your biggest takeaway from that whole experience?
Being a part of Marc Jacobs taught me the beauty of embracing myself, my individuality. They never asked me, dress like this, do that. It was like you, like just be you. And I think there was beauty in that. And I harnessed that from the get-go, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of changing what the standard
Yes.
is and the narrative is.
Yeah.
And I think now brands are starting to understand that diversity and, inclusivity is not a buzzword. It's not like a tick box exercise. You have to actually embody it. And it seems that's what Marc Jacobs has done with this campaign, and actually bringing yourself and other models on board, who are beautiful in their own way and not the cookie cutter way that we've been used to, for sure. So I'll let you have that little drink. I wanted to speak to you a little bit about getting to the stage where you went on to you went to do your TEDx talk.
Yes.
Which I've listened on repeat, by the way, so many times. And if you listen to it, guys, you have to listen to it more than once, because you find so many little gems in there that I just was like, I had to stop and go, wow, that was so beautifully put.
Thank you.
How was that experience for you? First of all, what got you to kind of go on to TEDx?
It was always on my list, and I don't know, like, it just happened. Like, you're not gonna believe it. In the start of the year, I had a little list that I wanted to achieve, and I wrote a TED Talk in it. I had no idea how it would happen, but I believe in the higher power. I do believe if you have an intention that's pure, it will materialize. And it was so funny because there was this one day I just went somewhere and someone asked me, like, I think the story was I was speaking about my brand, sharing my thoughts. And I think it was the point where I said about inner child healing and why I think it's important. And they were like, do you ever want to do a TED Talk? I was like, yeah, of course. Like, this felt like a TED Talk, like, They were like, okay, I think there's one happening. Would you like to speak? I was like, yes. And they were like, okay, I'll see you next week. I was like, okay.
Wow. See you next week?
Yeah.
Did you have a week?
Yeah. No, 2 weeks.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Oh my
2
goodness.
weeks.
So this whole thing of manifestation,
It just
like
happened.
totally happened.
And it was actually a friend.
And
she was going to speak as well. And she was like, do you want to? I was like, yeah, okay.
And before that, have you always felt, so there's a real strong current coming through in your life, where when you want to do something, would it take our listener through the process, because you may not know that you do a process, but you probably have something that you do, think about it, write it down, that then starts to bring that into motion and brings that energy together for you. If we could share something with our listener of how, you thought in your head, hey, I want to be a global model, and that came about. I want to do a TED Talk, and that came about. What are the key things, fundamental things that you do to make that come into motion?
The number one thing is mindset. And I spoke about this at my TED Talk as well. And I'll share it again if I can. Your chance of being born in this world is 1 in 400 trillion. Meaning 1 in 400 trillion for you and I to be here in this very moment. Do you genuinely think that you were just made to just watch life go by and you watch other people experience their life and live their dreams? Because everyone is a creator. But the world has made everyone more like a consumer. They've made you to believe there's one narrative, you have to fit in that box. And if you don't, you can just watch somebody else live their life. Like you go onto TikTok and you see, oh, must be nice. It can't be me. You've lost your dream there. The minute you believe that you were in this world, 1 in 400 trillion.
It's crazy when you think about
imagine
that, right?
like a concert stage, 400 trillion. I don't even think any stage can hold that. And there's you. You came out of that. So you were born for something magnificent, something that's so huge. You were not just born to live and exist and let's see where this day goes. Let's see where my life goes. No, you are in charge. The minute you get that mindset in, nothing can stop you. And if you're ever in a phase in your life where you think, I don't belong here, I'm meant for something greater, you know for a fact that it's a blessing. Might not sound like a blessing because it's the universe or a higher power guiding you towards what you're meant to do. You only get that blessing when you act on it. And usually a lot of people have this thought much later in life. You see a lot of older people say, oh, I should have done that at that moment. They knew it at that moment, but it was easier to watch other people live their dreams rather than actually take the risk and go like, I'm going to do it. And the main thing, just say yes. I've never...
That is so simple. Just
say yes. Don't think about, oh, but I'm not a good speaker. It's not going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Even the best speaker in the world will tell you, oh, this was not great. And you'll be like, oh my God, that was amazing. You know, just say yes and it came to you for a reason. Accept it with grace. Just go and do it. I mean, train, of course.
Yes.
Like I did do a lot of...
But the work that's required behind it. But I think that's such great advice, because sometimes what we feel is, I need to have the business plan set up. I need to have the work in motion. I should have had all the practical elements of learning it before I go do it. And actually, saying yes is giving the permission to open that door.
Yeah.
And, you know, like so many books that you read on it, manifestation, a lot of it does stem from this. You will find the way to do it. That's not the difficult thing.
Yeah.
It's accepting and receiving what's coming into your life. And a lot of the times we don't feel that we've got permission to say yes. You know, we're so kind of trying to fit into a certain type or a box that we don't believe that saying yes, oh, is that okay for me to do that? So that's so powerful. Say yes and figure it out afterwards.
Figure it out. Nobody knows what they're doing. Like, genuinely, everyone's
figuring it out.
Everyone. Even if you see the most, like a person that you really admire, right? Like, I don't know, like an entrepreneur who's achieved so much. They're still working on themselves. Nobody has it figured out. That is life. It's growth. It's constant need to do something, be better. You don't have it all together at any point in your life.
Quick pause. If this conversation is lighting up something in you, and I'm sure it is, do not keep it to yourself. Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Drop us a review, share it with somebody who needs it. Oh, and if you don't know, we're also on Apple and Spotify too. It really helps us to get more soulful guests and reach more hearts and minds. Okay, now back to the episode. So there's a lot that comes out, just to kind of dissect that a little bit. There's a lot that comes out that I feel from you is steeped in almost like a spirituality or a higher purpose. Tell me, like, what do you do to kind of ground yourself in that mindset? Do you have a morning routine?
I do.
Yeah, walk us through that.
So my first thing is to be like, Mom.
I love it.
So I'm Indian, so I
Yeah.
live with my parents. So the first thing I do, I'm like, Mom, Dad, because I need to see them. They're my home.
Yeah.
They're like my strength.
Yeah.
So and then I'm like, okay, they're fine. Okay, great. And then I regroup. I always sit in my bed and I decide in my mind, show me how amazing this day can be. right? With that intention. And I'm very spiritual. I always say with God's grace. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
But I truly believe in the higher power. And so when I pray, that's what I say. And and in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do everything in my ability to make this day great, but show me how amazing this day can be. And I journal, which helps me a lot because for me, it's like a landscaping, my mind.
Yes.
So you clear out all the weeds and you plant new seeds and there's beautiful flowers growing in, in your mind. But it helps me because I think that's the Virgo in me. I just need to organize everything. So it helps me to like write my thoughts down, write what I'm thankful for. Also like a question I want to ask myself. That just helps me the most. And then a workout, because I feel movement is important a lot in life. Because if you're training your mind, you need to train your body too. And then I just go about my day.
And did that kind of spark the inspiration to create Ray?
Yeah, 100%. Ray came in 2020. It was a scary time for a lot of us. I was at home for, I think, 3 months. We had a lockdown. And back then, I based my value on my work, entirely on my work. I think there's an interview of me long back saying, my work is not what I do, it's who I am. That was who I was before. Like my work was my entirety.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, like my worth was my work. In COVID, I realized my work is part of what I do. It is not who I am. I mean, I love what I do, yes, but there's a core to you that needs to be nurtured. And that only happens when you invest in yourself. Because back then, I was just like one thing after the next. Let's do this, let's do that, but never let's nurture. I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup. Like we've heard that so many times, but that's what I was doing. So during that time, during COVID, a lot of people did yoga. I did yoga as well. Banana bread, dalgona coffee.
Yes.
And I saw someone talk about journaling. I was like, what do people even write in journals? So I did my research and I started. I was like, so the one question that changed my life was during this was, what does my inner child need to hear to heal itself better? And I call mom. That's my first thing in everything, mom. And I was like, Mom, you're gonna write this. I'm gonna write this. We both sat side by side and we wrote and wrote and wrote. I thought it would be like a sentence. It turned into 3 pages. And I started crying. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize I still had it in me. Because in life, you can't be sad for an entire week, right? Like you're sad for a day and then you wipe your tears and you go to work because you have to live, you have to earn, you have to go meet your friends and do things. So you store trauma in your life because you have to go on with it. That's what I did. And I was like, imagine if this one term affected me so much, how much is in there? And I started doing it. I was like, this helped me. It was never in my plan, let me start a wellness brand. Never, because I worked in fashion, I worked in beauty. But it just happened. This helped me so much. I want to share this with the world. That was the only intention. I want them to find their light inside of them. And so I was like, so I spoke to my mom. I was like, Mom, I need this to be like a ray of light. And then we looked at each other. We're like,
God.
like, that's your brat. And then I played around with the names. But then, but still, like, it's just.
And it's part of your name as well.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And that was something that I did after. But it was just,
It is so beautiful. I mean, we've actually got it here. And I'm not sure I'm allowed to touch this microphone. But it is honestly the most beautiful.
Thank you.
It really is. And it goes into details about, like, the question that you said about your inner child. Is there much kind of, you said, is that something that you touched upon, the inner child work in lockdown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how did it kind of affect you in terms of clearing past trauma for going forward?
It helped. See, the thing about trauma and the thing about healing, there's no just one question that completely heals you. There was this one day I was doing a talk and there was a person who came up to me. They were like, how many pages do I have to write so I can heal? I was like, how long do you have to exercise and eat clean for so you never have to do it again, but still be fit and still be healthy? It's not possible. You have to constantly do it. But what helped me with this was I realized that I was storing so much inside me. And I realized that this is something that I need to work on. Inner child is something that is so powerful because it's the core of your essence. Kids are like a sponge. You accept everything, like how I spoke about it. When the world told me bad things about myself, I believed them because as a child, you think everything is the truth. It's only when you're older that you realize. So even a simple thing like how you deal with money. The way you react with money is based on how you were raised. So what the mindset was at home. If it was a scarcity mindset, you're someone who will react to that as an adult in that way as well.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing with inner child that I just started, like just one question, and then I built up more on that. I realized, oh my God, like I thought I healed because I'm doing great in life and I'm doing what I wanted, but it didn't really deal with the issues and the hurt that I went through as a kid, you know?
Yeah, and it's so beautiful because it's kind of like there has been what I'm really kind of learning from you is that you are very tuned in to a guiding kind of voice or feeling inside. You'll feel it in your soul moments that you're not going, hey, I do fashion now, I couldn't possibly create a wellness brand. But it's like the freedom to actually create as a creator. It's almost like you're painting.
Yeah.
You're not being told you can only paint within these
Lines,
these
yeah.
lines. You're actually got a level of freedom where it creates a flow. And that is such a beautiful thing because, even for myself, one thing that I realized is that when I started my business, and I really related to you when you said, I was, I am the work. And
Yeah.
that's so how I thought, my value was so tied up in me being an entrepreneur and creating this business that when COVID happened, it hit us it hit us really bad. But what I realized was it needed to happen for me to learn that I'm not my business. And you sometimes can create your own prison with whatever your success story is at the time, where you're like, hey, now I'm in fashion, and not allowing yourself to just look and explore at what else is unfolding for you can just leave you so in a place where you don't expand with what is inside you. That kind of like allowing yourself to open up like that, is that something that you've learned, or is it something that your parents have kind of told you? Where does that come from? Because so many times we kind of are made to feel like to stay in our lane.
Yeah.
Now you've started fashion, stay in that. You can't move off. Where is this freedom come from?
I wish I could say it's me because I grew up watching my parents be at the same job. Like my parents, I think they worked for the same company. And then at 52, my mom decides I want to spend more time with my daughter. So I want to be an entrepreneur. She started her own business. She was doing all that while being an amazing mom as well. And I was like, wait, we weren't meant to do just one thing. Because we're mothers, we're wives. I mean, like my mom, she's a daughter, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur. And I was like, if my mom can do so many things, in what world am I going to put myself in a box? Nothing in life is set in stone. The misconception is like your purpose in life can only be one thing. That's not true. There can be several things that make you want to feel whole, and your purpose might be, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I also want to create a community, or I also want to start something else. Or it could be as simple as I want to make someone's day today. Like, do you know what I mean? You can't put yourself in a box. Why? The world is anyways doing that to you. You can't do that to yourself,
I love that thinking. That is so true and so liberating.
Yeah.
And I think now, especially as the world has opened up globally, social media, more than ever, we have got an ability to follow our creativity and take it somewhere. So I think that is really sound advice for anyone who's kind of like in that transitional stage, to just open up and see what's available to you, rather than thinking, hey, you know, we just, before we went into this podcast, we spoke to somebody who just done a PhD.
Yeah.
Right. And studied all that time to be a doctor. But now she wants to actually grow her community, help other women in business. And business is huge for her. And I was like, how did you make the shift? And she was like, it just doesn't feed my soul anymore.
Yeah.
And that's such an interesting way to think about it, that we are really spiritual beings having a human experience.
We are.
You know, so when
like I said, we're creators. We're all creators, but we're taught to be a consumer, you know?
And it's so apt that the journal is called Ray, because, you know, to dissect a little bit about purpose, because I think that's such an interesting one, because it's almost like you can wind yourself up and get so caught up with trying to work out what your purpose is. And it literally is standing in your ray of light, right? It's standing in your light, and being able to do that kind of authentically, boldly, unapologetically, rather than thinking that your purpose has to be this one thing, like I'm going to solve this or create this. That just allows us to actually go, right, our actual being here is to really shine. And I think that's what this ray, which if you look at it is so beautiful, really kind of delves into. So I had a really interesting question, which was, what advice would you give to someone struggling to find their ray of light in life, especially when facing societal expectations or self-doubt?
I'm going to say something. Whatever you're seeking in life, approval, love, acceptance, happiness, a sense of intention, or I don't have like a purpose, you already have it within you. The minute you identify that you have everything that you seek in the world within you already, you won't seek for external approval. Because the world is already going through their life and their mindset, and they will try to force that in you, because I think everyone, not everyone, but there's a huge part of the world that has the crab mentality. It's like if you put the crabs in like a barrel, instead of helping each other out, they try to pull each other down. And a lot of the times that happens in the world. So if you seek approval from these sources, how do you expect to find yourself? Because you already have it within you. I mean, yes, you need a sounding board. Like for me, my mom was my sounding board. She's someone who I go to for advice, but it's very important to have a person like that. So if you want to seek acceptance, it's from you. If you want to seek advice, it's from these kind of people. Because at the end of the day, my mom always told me I'm beautiful and I'm intelligent, but I never believed her. It's only when I accepted myself for who I am did I actually believe that.
And is there something that you, in terms of, you know, even as a woman, you know, we are in this digital world with so many beautiful images around us. How, you know, for our younger listeners, how do you kind of get out of the mindset of being sucked in to, you know, not feeling good enough, you know, scrolling through, watching everybody who's got the perfect life? What kind of advice would you give to kind of some of our younger listeners on how you can maintain a sense of self in a space where it feels like it's so crowded? Is there any space for me?
Two things. Number one, never base your worth on something as available as a number. Meaning, number of Instagram followers, the number on the weighing scale, number in the bank account, your age. if you base your self-worth on something like a number, numbers are meant to change. Your foundation, your self-worth has to be solid. If you're basing your self-worth on numbers, it is going to crumble at any age, not just as a child.
I have never heard it explained like that.
Yeah.
That is so profound and so true. Never, ever base it on numbers.
Never base your self-worth on a number.
Okay, guys, if you've heard that, right, that is the best advice I've heard today.
Yeah.
Because all we are given is numbers.
We are driven by numbers.
We are
This
given
world is
numbers. Like from
age, weight, money in the bank account, Instagram followers. That's your worth. Oh, after I have 80,000 Instagram, then I'll be...
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm too old. I'm already 52. Now I can't do anything. Who said?
Yeah.
Numbers change, babe. You can't base your self-worth on numbers. You need to base your self-worth on you, your core, your values, who you are as a person, because that will never change. You can grow, yes, but it's still you.
Yeah. That is fantastic advice. Oh my God. I am literally you're going to hear me saying that to other people, because that is just, it's so... You know, as a mother as well, you know, you sometimes kind of think, I have 2 daughters, you know, growing up, and you're like, gosh, there's so much that noise that they have, you know, from a young age. How do you kind of get them not to be sucked in with all of that? And that is the clearest way to say it. If it relates to a number, that's not your worth. That's not your worth. Mm-mm. Your worth has to be something that is immeasurable.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, Ria. Thank you so much for that. So we have a closing tradition on the podcast, Feel It in Your Soul. And honestly, this was a very feel it in your soul moment for me. So many, and I think like your TED Talk, and when we'll play this back, there are so many nuggets of wisdom. Honestly, just a testament to your parents, but also your own journey of self-discovery that you've gone on at a younger age, which sometimes takes, you know, sometimes you've got to, you know, be bashed around a little bit, and then you're like, maybe I need to look at something within myself, but you've really taken that on. So, you know, well done to you for doing that. That's really heartfelt from me, because it is inspiring. It is inspiring that you don't have to be somebody that's gone through so much hardship before you actually realize, I need to work on myself. I need to look internally. That actually young girls growing up can look at Ria Jacobs and go, that's beauty. I can be somebody who can do anything that I want, but also that beauty is also the inner aspect of how I develop myself as a person. So you've done that beautifully.
Thank you.
So as our closing tradition, and I know that you're already young, but what advice would you give your younger self, or the gift of hindsight to our listener? So if there's something that you could look back now and go and talk to your younger self, what would it be?
I think my mom already did that. She said this world already has someone like whoever you're looking at, but it needs someone like you. And the minute you know that, you love yourself a bit more. I think that's hard to do. The way we speak to ourselves I used to be very, I would say, very rude to me, to myself. You can't do that. And then the minute you shift your narrative towards speaking, so I always say I speak to myself the way I speak to my mom, because it's like my mom is like, I don't have like a sister or anybody. So when you speak to yourself like you would to, say, your mother, like a dear friend, it's very nurturing, it's very kind, you know? So the minute you do that to yourself, no matter what the world throws at you, you know that.
That is such a good takeaway, because finding that person that you speak so lovingly to find that voice for yourself.
Correct.
That is beautiful. That is a beautiful way for us to close
the show.
Thank you so much, Ria. It's been an absolute pleasure. every time I listen to you, there is so many pearls of wisdom, so much more to come from Ria.
You're gonna make me
Jacobs.
cry.
No, honestly, I'm literally gushing here. I'm having a bit of a girl crush moment because
No,
I'm
likewise.
literally listening to what you're saying, and I think I might be even, I'm 45, so I might be, I don't know, maybe nearer to your mum's age, but it took me a long time to start to develop that. And to see that in you, it's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you. But I'll say the same thing. Don't base your self-worth on a number. You're 45 and you look gorgeous. Are you kidding
Did
me?
I just say a number?
Yeah.
Forget
Did you
the
just say a
number? Sorry. I'm not saying a number.
No more. No
Thank
more.
you so much,
Thank you,
Ria.
babe.
Ria Jacobs.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, what an episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Feel It in Your Soul. Every story you hear is a reminder that you're not stuck. It's never too late. And we can reframe every element of our life to work for us. If you want to go deeper, check out my meditations, workshops, and more at feelitinyoursoul.com. Oh, and please do not forget, subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button. And of course, leave me a message. I read every single one. Until next time, feel it in your soul.